Good morning, Adam Thiel. I'm the Fire Commissioner and Emergency Management Director for the City of Philadelphia. We're here this morning to mark another milestone in the incident that started on June 21st. So we're a little over 3 months now from the fire and explosion at the PES Refinery. We're here this morning to report that it's my intention today to place this incident under control at our unified command call this morning at 11 o'clock. That's, of course, if nothing changes. We feel like now what under control means, again, we've talked about this, that doesn't mean the incident is over. It simply means that we feel like we know enough about what's happening on the incident site, and we've confined all the hazards to the immediate site of the incident. So we will continue to monitor this incident. We are continuing to work closely with PES and their contractors and all the federal agencies that are involved that we've talked about before. EPA still has a monitoring system on site. Our hazardous materials unit still has a monitoring system on site. So we are maintaining continuous air monitoring around the remaining area that contains only trace amounts of hydrogen fluoride at this point. And that's those reasons are why we're choosing to put this incident under control after 3 months. So we certainly appreciate everybody's patience as we've continued to do everything we can to minimize the risks posed after this event. And I really want to thank all of our partners, again, all those federal agencies, certainly our own fire department and emergency management staff. They have literally been working around the clock for 3 months, putting themselves between our community and danger, which is what we do 24/7, 365. Last night, the night before that, all over the city. So again, I want to appreciate them. There's no way that we could have done this without that true team effort, well beyond even the fire department and OEM, our state partners, our federal partners, and the folks at PES who've been there on the ground. So these are the workers, they're emergency response folks. They've really been great partners for us since day one. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Commissioner, you talked about sweat equity, if you will, the time you guys put in there. It's been 3 months. If you can go into a little bit more detail about just how diligent you had to be in terms of getting to this point where you can say, we have this under control.
I appreciate that. We, our hazardous materials team members have been down there every day, taking air monitoring readings, working closely with PES. Our fire marshal's office, again, assisted by ATF, and the police department. Again, that's an incredibly wonderful partnership that we have. They are continuing to work on the investigation, but everything we need from the site has been recovered and sent away for testing. And again, that's in concert with those other federal agencies that are doing their investigations. Our emergency management staff, we've been doing several calls every day. We've had multiple calls, conference calls, a number of partners really from all around the country. And they've been organizing those and running those. And again, that's 7 days a week, essentially 24 hours a day. We've been engaged in this event. And, again, our folks have risen to the occasion, which is what you would expect. These are the best in the business, the fire department and Office of Emergency Management. I'm humbled to work with them. And I am pleased that now, although it was taking a while, but that's what we needed to do, because in an abundance of caution, again, it's a very novel event. So we were dealing with a lot of unknowns, and now I'm happy we can place this under control, although it remains a dynamic and fluid situation. Of course, the future of the refinery is something the Refinery Advisory Group that I'm co-chairing with our managing director continues to look at. The next public meeting of that group is tomorrow night. Everybody can find that information on the city's website, and of course, everybody in our community is invited to be part of that process.
So what changed, what steps did you achieve to fix it?
Well, the biggest thing that's changed is, what we've been reporting on pretty much weekly is the quantity of HF, quantity of acid on the site has been reduced to the point where it's only trace amounts. So the major quantity of that, again, we talked about that being neutralized and de-inventoried. The HF that was still in the damaged unit was a little bit more challenging. And the quantities of that that we were concerned about have now also been neutralized. So all that remains are trace amounts of HF combined with hydrocarbons in that unit. This is why I say the incident's not over, because finally getting out all the product from the damaged unit, cleaning it, etc., that's going to take still at least another month, according to the current projections. But again, what under control means is we feel like we've reduced the hazards to a level where we don't need to maintain necessarily a 24/7, 365 physical presence. Rest assured that our emergency management Rick, our watch center right here in this building, continues to operate 24/7, 365 as it always does. And we'll continue to work closely with our field forces and other agencies to, again, we have 5 different air monitoring systems now around the site that we continue to get those readings. Right now, all those readings have been for a long time 0. So we're not getting any readings for HF or any other hazardous materials. So those are all the things that have changed. Again, we've been working this whole time. This has not just been, waiting around. This has been, constant. And again, PES and its contractors have been the ones who have really been doing that work of reducing the HF.
HF, sorry, Commissioner, hydrogen fluoride.
Hydrogen fluoride, yep.
So can you tell us what could have been, what was the worst case scenario here that the city avoided with this incident?
Well, that's pretty hypothetical. There's been a lot of reporting on, hypotheticals. That's really not, that's not something I can necessarily. There's a huge range of potential scenarios. For the past several weeks, as we've been continuing to reduce that, neutralize and reduce the HF on the site, the scenarios we've been concerned about and we've been planning for. So again, there's a wide range of contingencies, and that's another thing we've been doing. We've had our planning staff, again, working every day. We've had an incident action plan every day. Those plans are, constantly updated and revised. Our OEM staff's been doing contingency planning with subject matter experts to look at the range of scenarios that are possible. The scenarios really for the past several weeks have been a relatively small leak of primarily hydrocarbon, but mixed with some small quantities of HF. And that scenario still keeps all the hazards on the PES property. So that's we really have been, and again, we still have wanted to get down to where there's only trace amounts left. And actually, one of the other things, we wanted to be able to ensure a robust 24/7, 365 atmospheric monitoring capability with a lot of redundancies before we felt like we could place this under control.
So now that people that were at the site 24/7 are freed up, does that help you with your daily work of fighting fires, or is it a savings in overtime?
Well, our daily work never stopped, as I think everybody has seen on television. Today, yesterday, the day before, the day before, the day before. So consistently, that's one of the things we've been doing. We've consistently been addressing 800 to 1,000 emergency incidents every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, multiple building fires and structure fires, as everybody's seen. Our folks have been making rescues. Regrettably, we've had some tragic fire deaths all over this 3 months. The work never stopped. So what this is going to do is it will reduce, we've been almost at continuous activation at some level of emergency operations center here. And that's been a real strain on our emergency management staff. They have risen to the occasion. Absolutely phenomenal effort. So we're hopeful now that they'll be able to reset a little bit and turn. Those are some of the things that they would be working on otherwise have had to be curtailed around this incident. And then for us, fire department-wise, it'll probably reduce some of our overtime. We've had to staff, again, so we can maintain service to the rest of the city. Some of the additional capabilities we needed to have were stood up on overtime. But we've never stopped. We've had other hazardous materials incidents almost daily, and our hazardous materials team has continued to respond to those incidents while we've maintained very close oversight and had that physical presence at the refinery. So it will help.
Commissioner, I hate to ask you to be repetitive when I'm thinking of the average person who's at home, because air quality has been the number one concern after this whole thing happened. So you're saying that you guys have 5 different air monitoring systems, and those systems show in terms of the HF and other potential contaminants it's showing 0 or trace amounts, which means there should be really no.
There are no. That's a great question. The air monitoring systems for for months now have shown 0 quantities of HF or any other hazardous materials being released from the site. So those readings have been 0. Well, of course, we just wanted to ensure that we had those redundancies. But yeah, the readings have been 0 for hazardous materials for a long time.
Were they always 0, or was there anything ever detected in those monitors?
Well, it's actually no HF was ever. We never detected any HF off the unit. So we know there are trace amounts inside the unit because obviously that's where it started and that's where it still is. We've been able to measure the quantities that we've taken out of, that PES has taken out of the unit. But we have not had any positive readings for HF on any of our systems.
Since you're down to trace amounts, you say, is there a projected pace when you're hoping to have this resolved?
Well, at this point, it's a PES matter that is under control. Again, we'll continue to stay engaged with them. The trace amounts are in the unit. I want to be clear about that, mixed with other products. So this is simply a matter as they disassemble the damaged unit, they have to, they'll have to get rid of those products. Those trace amounts of HF will go with those hydrocarbon products, and then they'll clean the unit. And what happens next is something none of us can predict right now. But we anticipate that's still going to take at least another month. That's what they're telling us. Could take longer.
I'm curious, the manpower you extended to getting to the bottom of this 24/7 operation. I know the company is broke, but could you bill them for all of this, or is it something?
Yes, we actually, as a matter of course, under federal law, we bill responsible parties of hazardous materials releases. So we intend to bill PES.
Do you have a figure yet on that?
No. But it will be substantial. Okay. Thank you all. Be safe.